Hi guys, welcome back. How are you all doing? We've not seen or spoken to you since like last year.
Last year. Well,
That's
maybe
like the
you've listened
lamest
to our
joke ever, but I
podcast.
love it.
Yeah. They're just like, what are you talking about? Like, we were here like a week ago.
About a week ago.
But yeah, this is our first episode of the year. We left you with quite a few things to do last year in terms of goal setting, getting your body and mind on board, and all that good jazz to get you set up for the year ahead. Because let's be honest, it's 2025 now. We were saying this in 2024, but it is really the time to step into your main character, leave all the bullshit behind,
Let it go.
and start being the version of you that you know that you are, that you know that you can be, that you know that you want to be and you aspire to be, but you're just not stepping into that version of you. So let this year be the year where your dreams come true, you make shit happen, and you say bye to all that stuff that does not serve you.
That you just don't need.
That you don't need.
Put it in the rubbish bin, send it off. We don't need it. Binmen have collected it. They're on the way.
So that's
It's all gravy.
yeah. So now that you're hyped up and you're ready, this episode is super exciting because we're going to be talking about how our year went last year, the things that I guess we're going to be leaving behind in 2024, and then what we're bringing into 2025. So we're super excited to share all that stuff with you.
So if you normally forward to the end to get the tip, don't worry because this entire episode is a tip. So hold tight, we've got it all good for you.
That's it. So keep your ears peeled because it's just tips throughout. Plethora of tips, an abundance of tips.
It's Tip City.
Tip City, Tip City.
There's a song there somewhere.
I censored myself out. Did you see that?
It was good. Okay, so what is the number one thing that you are leaving in 2024?
The number one thing.
Number one thing,
To be honest,
or the first thing?
yeah, I'm gonna go with the top of the list because I think this is something that has been quite impactful for me, and it's something that it took me a very big breakdown to realize that this was the case. But for me, it's not feeling guilty, I should say, about not doing everything on my to-do list. Something that I was compulsively doing all the time was I always wanted to plan everything down to the minute. If I have it somewhere, one day I will show you guys it. I have this schedule / timetable, which I'm not bagging timetables at all. They're great, but my problem is that if I didn't stick to exactly how everything was timed to the minute, this is when I'm going to have my break. This is when I'm going to go back to work. This is when I'm going to record my videos. This is when I'm going to go to sleep, right? I would be stressed and I would start feeling guilty about it. And it took the point of emotional overwhelm for me, where I had this massive breakdown last year with everything else going on, that I realized that I need to scrap this because this is insanity. And now, kind of on the back end of that, doing a bit more research and learning about why was I doing that is actually from a place of anxiousness, trying to control, trying to like have this predictable outcome. But as we know, if you've listened to our 2025 goal setting podcast, when you try and predict the future, when you try and control the future, you're actually blocking yourself to the unknown. But the thing is, the unknown is where the magic happens. The unknown is where your dreams come true, not in the predictability, not in the, if I do X, then I will get to Y, not with planning every single step, because that's not living. That's trying to control how you live. And that isn't fun. I learned this firsthand. And it's something that thankfully, up until last year, I've got a lot better at, but there's still more room for growth. I still do stress out sometimes when I haven't done things, even though when 4 of my things are ticked off, but I've left one of them, I still beat myself up sometimes. But this is just the conditioning in my nervous system and my mindset of like, hey, I feel like I always need to be, I guess, perfect in a way, but I'm letting go of that. I'm letting go of the guilt. And it's been a process, but it's been so freeing. I'm not as stressed. I'm a lot chiller. Pelf can probably verify this.
It was crazy for a while. Like when he's saying that he planned every minute of every day, I can confirm that is exactly what he did and how we did it. We're going to have breakfast at this time. It's going to last this long. We're going to go for a walk at this time for this length of time. And if it was 1 minute off, it was a problem.
Yeah. And it was so stressful living that way. And it was only once I was out of it, looking in, did I realize how stressful it was, because I was living to the minute.
And I think there was 2 other things that, well, yes, you were living to the minute, but also I think we found when we look back and we evaluate the situation that you were actually also suppressing your feelings, and you were using
don't tell them
planning every minute of every day to avoid feeling and dealing with things that were coming up for you. So that was the other factor of it.
Yeah.
And now so essentially what we did was we scrapped time.
Yeah.
We scrap time completely. So if you're someone who experiences this and this is something that you're also going through, this is the number one recommendation we have, because we tried this. It works. It's working well. Paris is in recovery. It's going great.
I'm a recovering addict.
It's going great. But essentially what we did is we scrapped time, and we decided that there was no rules in terms of what time you had to do anything, how long it was going to last, what time you were going to eat. We were just going to decide what it was that you needed to achieve that day. And when it was done, it was done. If it was done early, great. If it was done late, that's fine. Whatever time of the day it was, it didn't matter, because, you know, the day is yours and time is just something we made up anyway.
Yeah.
So
it's been ingrained into us. We go to school, you have to be there by a set time. This lesson's at that time. Then you have a break. Then and then you go into work, and it's a similar structure. Everything is revolved around time and productivity and deadlines and pressure. But we are human beings, not human doings. And if you're doing all the time, then it's just going to lead to burnout. And in my case, it did. And I'm telling you on the other end of it, that it doesn't have to be that way. Yes, I still have a timetable, but guess what? There's no time. I call it the timeless table. Everything's still planned in a way, but if things chop and change, which they do, now I have the calmness and the clarity to just be like, you know what? That didn't work out, but I can put this here. I'll reschedule this for tomorrow. Whereas in the past, that would be like the end of the world for me. And yeah, just no.
Especially because I have no concept of time. I'm like on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
I'm like airy fairy. It'll happen when it happens. I'll complete it when it's done.
It's true.
So yeah, it's been a nice journey to see your growth, to be honest.
Thank you.
You're doing really well. You're
Thank
smashing
you.
it.
That's how we do here, you know. Like, we don't tell you guys to step into your main character energy if we ain't doing the same thing, because then we will just be bullshitters, man. We're doing it too.
Yeah. And nobody wants to listen to bullshit.
Yeah, we don't. It's the century of the real, you know. The fake is dying out, and it's time to step into the realness.
And also, it's funny, just like a quick thing, it's relative to like what's happening today. Obviously, TikTok got banned for like a whole 20 hours or something ridiculous. But before it got banned, loads of creators in the US were like coming on and making videos admitting to like, actually, I never did this workout, even though I was telling you to do it. Actually, that was never my breakfast. So shows you there's an economy of bullshit is out there.
Yeah.
For sure.
But the biggest bullshit of all is yourself.
Yes.
And I don't mean to other people. I mean to
yourself.
you. So just a little question that maybe answer once you've done this, or if you want to do it in real time, just ask yourself, how and where am I bullshitting myself? I'll leave you with that thought. Moving on to you, pals.
What's the number? Okay. So something that I used to do quite a lot was I used to have, in fact, I've had this my entire life. I would have this thing where I cannot go to bed before 12 o'clock because there's still day left, and you can't go to bed if there's day left. So my brain, regardless of how tired I was or what was going on, I had to stay awake till 12 o'clock at the very least. You could say I'm a night owl, but obviously that was very detrimental to my health because I wasn't getting enough rest. I was waking up the next day tired. I often wasn't sleeping that well either. Because also as well, we learned that melatonin is released between the hours of 10 and 12. So really you want to be going to bed closer to 10 than you do closer to 12. And I was going to bed a lot later than 12. So what Paris encouraged me to do for a very long time, which I rejected many times.
I can confirm this was a fight.
Was have a bedtime. And I was like, oh my, 8 years old, I'm going to have a bedtime? Like, I refused to do it for a very long time. But then I did it, and actually, it's probably one of the best things I've done in having a bedtime, because now consistently I get tired at the right time. I'm getting a lot better quality sleep, and it actually just feels a lot more regulating to know, hey, it's time to go to sleep. I'm going to bed now, as opposed to being like, I've got an hour left and I'm tired. What am I going to do? So yeah, that's been that. I would say that's the number one thing for me. I would leave that in 2024, not having a bedtime, because honestly, it was nuts. I don't know what I was doing. I was honestly, my teenage rebel was acting out for absolutely no reason, because I'm the boss here. So it was a lot of nonsense.
I can go to bed when I want. I can do what I want. I can be when I want. The problem is that for your body, your circadian rhythm, it needs routine.
Exactly.
It's one of the only places that you really do actually need a solid routine, because your body needs to know when it's time to wake up, when it's time to go to bed, because the way that your body works is a whole load of different hormones and processes started taking place depending on what time of the day it is. So if, for example, you're sporadically going to bed at 10, sometimes it's 1 in the morning, sometimes it's 2, then it's back to 10, and it's all inconsistent. Your body doesn't know when to start producing melatonin. It doesn't know when's a good time to start, winding down. And then you add this to like you eating late, for example. If you're eating late, well, your body's thinking, well, it's obviously not time to go to sleep anytime soon because I've got to digest this stuff. And that's another, just a little tip for you. If you're eating close to bedtime, stop that at least 2 hours before, if not later than that. But try 2 hours and see how you feel if that's not something that you do.
And in case you've just tuned in and this is your first episode, your circadian rhythm is essentially your body clock. So You want your body clock to be working correctly. So that's important as well. And also as well, a little pro tip, if you are trying to improve and regulate your circadian rhythm, something that I would also recommend doing, which is actually bringing me on to the next thing that I would say we're doing a lot less in 2020, we're leaving in 2024 and taking into 2025, is stop using your phone at least an hour before you go bed, and stop using it for the first hour that you wake up, because the blue light is disrupting your circadian rhythm. And what you can do instead is actually get sunlight first thing in the morning. If you're in the UK, I know that's a little bit difficult because it sucks here, but still going outside, just getting the light in your eyes is a lot better than going on your phone, and it will start to regulate your circadian rhythm. So that is something else that we are leaving in 2024. We're saying, stop. No.
No to the doom scroll. No to the phone.
No to doom scrolling to all the way to bed. No to being on the phone, and just finding and filling that time with something else that is not on a device. And actually, that has also been a great help in conjunction with having a bedtime 10 out of 10.
Because I think something else that we realized last year that we're, I guess, dropping and not doing in this year is there's a very big difference in what we think rest and relaxation is to what we're actually doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, you think being on your phone or just watching TV in the evenings is restful. And don't get me wrong, it can be. Watching TV, watching your favorite Netflix series, great. But let's say you're doing that 7 days a week every evening. You're not giving your body other forms of rest that it needs. There's 7 different forms. You've got emotional, psychological, you've got physical, everything to social. You've got the whole bunch. But
we did a whole episode on it. We'll tag the episode.
But just being, sat docile on your couch, sofa, I don't know why I said couch like I'm American, watching TV probably isn't what your body needs in that moment most of the time. So you're actually neglecting yourself in loads of other ways. And that's maybe adding to why you feel so stressed, for example, when you wake up, why you're probably not sleeping right in the first place, because you're not allowing your body to get the discharge that it needs. And this can look like things like breath work, meditation, maybe going for a long walk after dinner. I would say that's something else that we're trying to bring more into our lives this year, is going for walks. And it's so simple.
And also as well, if you're like, oh, I don't want to do breath work, I don't want to do yoga, that's too woo-woo for me, that's absolutely fine. Other things that you can do that are really, really great, you could do a puzzle. You will Paris and I have been puzzling for the last 2 years. New Girl reference. We've been puzzling for the last 2 years.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. And it has been such a great way to relax. It has, hasn't it? It's just been like you're completely switched off. You become so engrossed in doing this. You're so present. You're so in the moment, and it's so much fun. And there's no devices involved. You can put on a podcast if you want to have something on in the background, but most of the time we don't even notice what we're listening to or anything. Yeah. And it is a great way to, do an activity in the evening that is regulating, it's relaxing, and it's a way, and it's giving you rest and relaxation in a way that TV, for example, wouldn't, or breath work, potentially yoga wouldn't. Other things that you can do is like adult coloring books. They're absolutely phenomenal, or doing some other form of art. So there's lots of other things out there. Oh, and also a growing trend I've seen, and also thankfully to my brothers, they bought me this recently and I have not tried it yet, but Lego.
I know that's going to be big for you. I can't lie.
I'm so excited to do it. But yes, Lego also, I've seen this as like a growing trend that more adults are doing Lego. So tap into your inner child, do something fun, relaxing and resting. And yeah, you'll start to feel rejuvenated before you know it. Lots of R's for you there.
Because that's the thing. When it comes to actual relaxation, most of the time, what the best forms of that is just being present. Do something that's going to make you present. And that means you're not thinking about how your day went. You're not even worrying about what you have to do tomorrow, or the conversation you had with your partner or your friend or your boss or whatever. All of that goes out the window, and you're just purely focused on doing the Lego, doing the puzzle, going for a walk in nature and paying attention to your surroundings, reading a book. These things are great because it just brings you into the moment. You literally cannot do these things without focusing on it. Or if you are, you will realize how distracted you are, and you'll have to address what is causing the distraction. There's nowhere to run. And this is why it's not just relaxing, but it's also healing too. And it's something that we found with puzzles. It's like when we were doing the puzzles, I hadn't felt this relief in so long, and we were literally like, oh my God.
Our brains felt like relaxed. It was like someone had given our brain a massage.
And it's interesting because you're still concentrating, but the level of concentration is completely different to, like, I don't know, like solving a math problem or doing something at work. It's a different level of concentration where, although you're thinking in a sense and focusing, it's subtle and it's relaxing. But that just comes down to you being in a, parasympathetic state where you're in rest and digest, just you're chilling out, and, it's all good. It's all good. On the topic of sharing what we're leaving behind, what's something else that you would say you're leaving behind in 2024?
Ooh, spending less time on my phone in the evenings, mainly because obviously we work from home. So it's really difficult to have that boundary of, I'm not going to be on my phone, work's over now. So something, and actually, funnily enough, this came up in our community group and someone asked me, how have I done this? And over the Christmas period, I was barely on my phone. But what I've done is replace things like scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, which a lot of people are addicted to. And it is an easy thing to get into. Like sometimes you're on there, just want to look at something. And then before you know it, you've like watched 20 videos and now it's passed. And now you know how to make the most randomest thing recipe on the planet.
And you never do it.
And you never do it. You just have the knowledge of this thing that you're never going to use. But what I found was that the reasons I was going on, say, for example, Instagram and TikTok was if I wanted to see something fashion related or art related, because those are the things that I was interested in. So what I did actually was start using Pinterest more whenever I felt that urge to go on, say, for example, Instagram or TikTok. Now I find Pinterest is still a search engine. You can still see those things, but it's less in your face. It's less like flashing lights. It's just pictures, and it's a lot more regulating and it's a lot calmer, and also it's a lot less addictive. So I found that like if I ever felt that urge to pick up my phone and look at something, that I would normally go in there, and often what I would find was like inspiration for an art piece I wanted to do or something I wanted to create, which was great because the other thing that I was doing over Christmas, the Christmas period, was doing a lot of art and doing a lot of stuff like that. So when you do those two things, you realize I'm having so much fun being present, and you forget about your phone completely. But changing like just that one thing was actually such a big thing because it made such a big difference. And now if I'm about to go on Instagram, I use it a lot more intentionally. It's like, hang on, what am I going to look at today? Am I going on there for work? And also as well, it's easy to have that boundary of, I'm not picking my phone up to look at work stuff because I'm only picking it up to look at something art related or fashion related, and I'll reply to messages at X time. Another tip that I would give is if you're someone who struggles to not scroll on your phone so much or be on your phone constantly, is have like set time for when you're going to scroll. So if you're trying to break out of like the doom scrolling or like the scrolling habit, the addiction, let's call it, just say to yourself, actually, I'm going to spend 30 minutes from 7 to 7:30 and I'm going to scroll as much as I want in that period. But once the 30 minutes up, that's it. I'm done with my phone. I'm going to put it down. I'm going to do something else, because that's also, it's scratching the itch that you have, but it's also breaking the habit slowly. And it's not like you're not going cold turkey.
Yeah.
Where you're not having that addiction of like, hey, I'm dying to scroll on TikTok.
And depending on what you're looking at, I'm not going to tell you that scrolling on your phone is inherently a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
It is, however, a bad thing when you're doing it mindlessly.
Yes.
And it's this whole thing of intention, like the point you're making is like, yeah, scroll on your phone whenever you want, but do it intentionally. Make time to do it rather than like, I've got a spare minute here, so here I am picking up my phone, because that sucks you in. And then, like you said, there's like an hour that's just gone because what started off as like this little bit of boredom and you picked up your phone turns into an hour. And then before you know it, it's like, I had stuff to do. Now I'm tired. I'm drained. I don't want to do that stuff anymore. And you're just wasting time. So I like that.
Yeah. So try those tips. Let us know how it goes. If you have any other tips, let us know. Chuck it in the comments. Send us a DM. We'd love to hear them.
All of that jazz.
All the jazz.
I think phones is such a big thing. So we don't realize how disruptive they are. They're disruptive when we're looking at them before we go bed, when we wake up, social media, all this jazz, something that's meant to connect us actually does the complete opposite. And I think this is something that we've realized this year or last year, bringing more into this year, is actually the need for more human connection. We're really fortunate that we have our community and we connect with them both online, our WhatsApp group and etc. But in-person stuff, because we've been so busy with work, our in-person relationships have kind of fallen down the wayside. I think for our relationship, we realized that we hadn't been spending actual quality time with each other. We worked all day. Yeah, we chilled in the evenings, but we didn't have a whole entire day where actually we just did nothing together or did something together. So that's something we're bringing in. But then even more so, we're like, all right, we need to make more time for our friends this year. We need to see our families a bit more. You're really good at this, me not so much. But yeah, we are really leaning into 2025 of, okay, we've done the kind of hibernation thing. We've recovered from some traumatic experiences with some mean people that stepped into our life that we had to kick out. So if that maybe sounds like something that you're dealing with, kick out all toxic relationships of this year, please. Do not carry those around. They don't, any energy takers, get rid of them.
We encourage you. We support you. You've got this.
Yeah.
If you need backup, call us.
I think a big part of our healing last year was kind of getting over that speed bump. But this year we're definitely over it. Now it's like, okay, let's go out and play again. Let's like be open to meeting new friends and also meeting up with old friends, because it's so important on the healing journey that you have human connection. And okay, there you can somewhat connect with people online, but you do need to see them in person as well. Your body needs that regulation where you can build safe relationships. We always say, you know, trauma is built in the environments and the relationships. So on the other side of that is the healthy relationships and the things such as that, the healthy environments. You need to put yourself in these positions in order to teach the nervous system that it can be safe, because all the nervous system remembers is the past. And if we're just avoiding relationships because we had that bad experience once and I don't want to ever get into a relationship again because I'm scared of being hurt again, well, you know what happens. You'll never be in a relationship and be happy, which you probably desire to be, but because you're avoiding it, it's not the ticket. So yeah, this year I think we're going back to being more ourselves in that degree and stepping outside of our comfort zone, oddly enough, which was once our comfort zone, and making more time for these things. And I think it just comes down to not being as busy, really, as well.
And I think also as well, just touching on that, I would say for me, I touched on this on another episode, but not keeping relationships, well, friendships really, that are requiring you to be small. And if they do require you to be small, to, you know, let them go, because no one should encourage you to be small. You should be as big as you want to be, show up authentically as yourself. And I think that's something that I'm really embodying a lot more this year and stepping in. So that's we're going to see more of that in 2025, because I think for quite a while for myself, I have allowed that to make me small in some ways when really I didn't need to. So I think I'm going to be doing a lot more of that. And also, when you let go of those friendships, those relationships, those people in your life that are requiring you to be smaller, requiring you to dim your light, requiring you to, you know, not show up as you want to show up, or making you feel like you shouldn't be. Once you let those people go, you are going to create space for people that are going to support you, are going to encourage you, do want to see the best for you, and do want you to shine bright like the star that you are. So if that is you, let them go.
Honestly,
let them go.
What Pearl said, there's this fear that if we let go of these things that don't serve us anyway, we'll end up alone, we'll end up miserable, we'll never find the people that actually do align with us. So we cling on to the relationships, we cling on to the job that we hate, we stay in the environment for far too long when we know it isn't right for us. We stay where we're not appreciated and loved. For what? Because we're scared of the unknown. We're scared of stepping outside of that box.
And also as well, we're like biologically conditioned to find safety. So there's safety in numbers, right? So if you're in an environment where you're accepted for being the same as everyone else, you're going to carry on being the same as everyone else, because biologically you feel safe in that environment. And to dare to be yourself seems scary. But the only reason it feels scary is because your environment has told you, hey, it's not safe to be you. You got to be like us. So it is nervous system expansion in some way, but the more you start aligning with what you want and who you want, you will find that group that encourages you and teaches you it's safe for you to be how you want to be, rather than being somebody else and just to be safe and fitting in. So biologically it is wired in us, but we can break free from that and find the groups and the people that are teaching us actually it is safe to be you. Be you, shine bright. Show up, let them choke.
Let them choke. And that's the beauty of us human beings, you see. Yeah, it is wired in us, but the beauty is that due to neuroplasticity, we can rewire that conditioning and we can change it to something that we want. So yes, you are not stuck in the box that you are in. You can step out of it. It is a process, but you have to make the decision each and every day to change in order for that to stick. If you don't, if you try it once and then give up, well, you are just going to go back to square one and nothing's going to change. It really is up to you. But we're telling you from people that try and take these steps every day. Admittedly, every day, not always, because that's life, by the way. You are allowed to mess up. You are allowed to not be consistent. As long as you try again, you will get there.
And just in relation to like rewiring your brain, something that I haven't done as much in 2024, but I would like to do more in 2025, is actually speak positively more to myself. Now, I don't necessarily have like negative speech in my head. Don't get me wrong. There's days where I like will have like moments or little rants where I feel negative or where I don't feel that great. But generally in my head, I'm not like full with like negative thoughts all the time. But what I did realize is that I need to tell myself more positive things. And it's as simple as, you know, a lot of us, we have like a story we tell ourselves about like why we are a certain way or why we're doing a certain thing or because of XYZ, but actually it's just a story. So rewiring your brain is just telling yourself a new story. So this year I'm going to be telling myself new stories that are going to encourage the growth that I want to see and encourage the positivity and the change that I want to see in myself. So that's something that I'm going to be doing a lot more of in 2025.
I love it. I love it. It's victimhood and being the victor. The reality is that your body, your nervous system, your mind included, cannot tell the difference between what is real and what is not. If we go to the nervous system level, okay, when it comes to threats, it can't tell if it's perceived danger or reality. But in your mind, the stories that you tell, your mind believes. So if you say things like, I am stupid to myself, I am useless, I never get anything right, guess what? Your body and your mind hears you, and your body and your mind believes you. Not good. But the good news is you can change the narrative. You can change the script. You are the director. You are the main character. You are the author. You are the creator. You have the power and all the tools to change that story. You don't need to live in the past anymore. You need to live in the present and move forward into the future. The future is yours to design.
You got this. And just one last thing, because funnily enough, actually, we tried recording this episode before. I know we mentioned it at the beginning of the podcast, but we haven't mentioned it so far. But what was the stat that you told me about people who quit their New Year's resolutions? What's Quitter's Day?
It's something around 80% of people that set New Year's resolutions quit within 2 weeks. So the 14th of January, ironically, is called Quitter's Day.
So if you are someone who is trying to do more this year, if you have like a list of things that you want to achieve, something that I will say, because we did a whole episode on how this works in nervous system expansion, but I do feel like it's really important. And probably if you're listening to it and you're struggling with your New Year's resolutions, it's just a reminder to you that start slow, start small, and grow, because trying to do 5 things at once is going to be more difficult for your nervous system than doing one new thing and then building on that one thing with another thing. You can still achieve all the stuff that you want to achieve by the end of the year. You don't have to do it in the first month. You can build on it as you go along. So just remember that, because that is something, when you said that to me, I was like, oh my gosh, I did not know that was the statistic.
It's not a good one. There's so many reasons for that, but we did actually touch on a podcast just towards the end of 2024. So if you want more information about why that is and what you can do to set goals, make 2025 your year and all that jazz, we'll probably put that in the show notes too. But if you look for it, it's titled 2025 Goals or something like that. But yeah, I really hope that this podcast has helped you guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. If you've taken anything from it, we hope you've got some inspiration on things that you can start bringing in or letting go of. Maybe some homework for yourself is grab a pen and paper. Things that I'm going to leave in 2025, things that I want to do more of or bring into 2025. Go from there, I would say.
Yeah, amazing. And also as well, if you want to check out any of our resources, if you click the link in our profile on our Instagram or our TikTok, you will be able to find all of our resources. So we've got courses on there, we've got challenges on there, we've also got our shake therapy class on there, which we'll be doing on the 29th of January and also the 5th of February if you want to come along. So all of our bits and bobs are there. So yeah, we'll catch you next time. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a great day wherever you are.
And until then,
ta
for now.